In my web mockup, I want to add some rounded rectangles and do more to align the shapes and objects and type in this layout. So I'm going to start by right-clicking on the rectangle tool. This is your collection of vector tools. And in the last version of Photoshop, they added the ability to do fills and strokes and even custom line styles. And there are a lot of options for shapes. When you're creating shapes, they can go to a new layer, but if you have multiple shape layers, you have the option to combine them, subtract, do intersections, or even merge. Also, if you have multiple shapes selected, you can align or distribute them, and you can control the stacking order. Bring shape to front, send it to back if you have several shapes on the same layer. And finally, you could set up fixed sizes before you create your shape. So I know I want the width of this to be 200 because if you're doing web mockups, you need to know the width and height of everything in order for them to code around it. But when I hit Tab, it automatically went to inches, and 200 inches would be huge. So I'm going to set it to px, or pixels. The height will be 40 px, or pixels. So that's your way to specify to make sure it's not doing inches. I could also create the shape from the center. Now this is the center of my layout, so I could see the text is off-center, but I'll fix that in a moment. And let's try from center. So if I line up to the center and just click and hold, now I've got a 200 by 40 pixel shape that is dead center because this is the middle of my guides. Also check out New to Photoshop CC. I forgot to put rounded corners. In the past, you had to delete the shape and redraw it, or if you had drawn with rounded corners and you wanted to change the roundness, again, you had to delete and redraw it. Never more. I could type in 10 pixels and link them so they're all the same, and when I hit Tab, it does it on all four sides. But since I linked after typing the first value, it did it proportionally, so I will unlink and make sure this is 10. In fact, I really don't want the top left and bottom left to have any corner radius. So I could make those, actually I should say, top left and top right should be 0 pixels. So hard corners at the top, rounded at the bottom, and you could forever change the roundness. And there are other options for shapes that you saw up here in the options bar, now in the properties panel. So I'll finish this off by choosing some of my pluralist swatch colors. I want the lightest gray for fill. There we go. And for stroke, I want the medium gray. And if I pause, it'll tell me, yes, that's my medium gray. Now for the stroke alignment, I'll just click up here to make that menu go away. There is options to control where it aligns. The center is the default. Maybe I want the stroke completely outside of that 20 by 40 pixel area. This matters if you're doing your CSS, where the border is in between the padding and the margin, so it helps you calculate everything if you're going to export slices for this to use as real graphics. Or maybe they're just doing all the cascading style sheets with rounded corners and we're not using images for rounded corners anymore. Depends on the architect of your site. I could also change caps if I do straight lines and corners to get round or hard. Well, a rounded join technically, or beveled join technically. But I'm happy with this. However, it did go over top of Shop by Category because that was the selected layer. I'm going to be nice and name my rectangle Shop by Rectangle. And in my Layers panel, I'll drag it below Shop by Category. I know this is centered, but I want to center Shop by Category to the page. Before I finish in this document, I'm right-clicking, and I decided to make all vector shapes or vector smart objects green, so I can easily tell by the highlight color that it's green. So I'm going to select the white background, hold down Command on the Mac or Control on Windows and select the Shop by Category. And with the Move tool, I'll hit Center, and it's perfectly centered. The next alignment I want to do is getting each one of these pieces of text to line up with what they belong to. So if I scroll to see category icons and expand them, each icon and piece of text has been put in their own folder group. I'll show you why that's important in a moment. But if I expand accessories and I select accessories, shift-click on the other accessories, and hit Align Horizontal Centers, they're aligned to one another. If I collapse accessories and select Packs and Packs and hit Align Horizontal Centers, my packs moved. That's the reason I want everything in their own folder. So these two can be treated like a group, and I can realign all of the icons. So I'll make a new folder group, and I call it a folder group, but it's just a group with a folder icon. And I'll name this Packs. And I'll move the Packs icon and the Packs text inside. I'll select Tense by expanding it, select both, and center. And I'm going to go on and do the rest, and I'll pause the video, and you could do this on your own. And when I'm finished, we'll align all of the objects. Well, goodness, there's only 2 more, so I might as well just have you watch me do it. And chairs would be the last one. Now if I collapse all of them, and I'll double-click on adjustments to get it out of my way, and double-click on swatches, I could select all of these, and I want to move chairs back to where it belongs. So before I align everything, if I select the chairs group and drag it to the right, I want that centered. I could use Command T to free transform to see that I've got it centered. And press Return or Enter to finish. I'll do the same with accessories. Command T or Control T to free transform. Bring it to my first grid line. Return or Enter. Shift-click to select all the layers and align the top edges. Then distribute the horizontal centers. And it's centering from accessories to chairs, and I have a nice balanced layout. So I hope you've enjoyed building folder groups, aligning objects, the new options for rectangles and adjusting the rectangle radius.